Okay, let's dive right into this explainer. If you've ever looked at a page of flowing Arabic script and thought it was just this impenetrable fortress of complexity, well, you're definitely not alone. But today, as we go through these foundational lessons, we're going to discover that taking those first few steps is actually incredibly achievable.
I mean, sure, a totally different alphabet and reading from right to left, it absolutely seems intimidating at first glance. But the source material reveals something amazing. With just a few simple repeating patterns, you can start communicating almost immediately. So instead of getting totally bogged down in years of intense grammar, let's just look at the elegant, logical architecture of the language. Here is our roadmap using the building blocks method today. 1. The magic of hada. 2. Asking, what is this? 3. Objects versus people. 4. The animal kingdom. And finally, 4 golden grammar rules. Let's jump in.
Section 1, the magic of hada, laying the foundation. So the crucial point we're looking at here is that this single word, hada, gives you the power to point to and name almost anything around you. Think about how a toddler learns their very first language, right? They literally just point and identify. Hada is basically the ultimate pointing word. It simply translates to this is. Just by knowing this one single word, you've suddenly unlocked 1,000 different sentences. See if you can spot the pattern as we go through some everyday items. We've got hada beitin for house or hada masjidan for mosque. A door is bab, so this is a door is literally just hada bab. A book is kitab, making it hada kitab. It is so straightforward. You just place hada right next to the noun. No extra filler words required. Hada qalam, this is a pen. Hada miktab, this is a desk. Which brings us to section 2, asking, what is this? The complication. Well, it turns out flipping these simple statements into questions is remarkably easy. By just adding the particle ma right at the beginning, we create the phrase ma hada, which asks, what is this? Because ma simply means what. Imagine you're wandering through a bustling market in Cairo or Dubai, and you want to point at something unfamiliar. Your go-to question is simply ma hada. Try to mentally guess the translations here as we ask, what is this, for a few everyday items. For a bed, the question is ma hada, and the answer, going back to our first building block, is hada sarir. For a book, ma hada kitab. It forms this really perfect conversational loop that builds your vocabulary with incredible speed. And honestly, this brilliantly illustrates how adding just a single ah sound to the front completely flips the statement into a yes or no inquiry. Hada bait is just a statement. This is a house. But add an ah with a questioning tone at the very beginning, a hada bait, and suddenly you're asking, is this a house? Literally one single letter changes the entire function of the sentence. From there, you just respond with nam for yes or la for no. If the question is, hada kamis, is this a shirt? And it is, the answer is nam hada kamis. But hey, what if there's a mix-up? If someone asks, hada sarir, while pointing at a key, your response is simply, la hada mifta. No, this is a key. Nam and la, yes and no. Moving right along to section 3, objects versus people, the expansion. Notice a really critical difference that pops up here? We use ma hada for an inanimate desk, but we actually need a brand new word for a doctor. Arabic makes a very clear, logical distinction between things that possess intellect, like people, and things that don't. Pointing to a doctor and asking, what is this, wouldn't just be grammatically incorrect, it would actually be super rude. The proper question is, who is this? To ask who is this, the word man is used instead of ma. It's super easy. Just swap the vowel sound and add an N. Ma becomes man, who. And this structure lets us immediately start identifying people. Man hada, pointing to a boy. The answer, hada walad. Pointing to a doctor, man hada tabib. And for a man, hada rajul. So now we actually have 2 distinct conversational tracks in play. Ma for objects and man for people. Section 4, the animal kingdom applying the rules. So this begs the question, do animals count as what or who in Arabic? Well, it turns out in Arabic, animals are treated with ma, what. This lets us identify this, seemingly random mix of a rooster, a donkey, and a camel. Pointing to the rooster, the deek, we ask ma hada, not man. Pointing to the camel, the jamal,
mahada, hada jamal. The donkey is himar. And yes, even dogs and cats, kalb and keet, fall firmly under the ma category, right alongside houses and books in traditional grammar syntax. It's a rigid, reliable rule. Section 5, 4 Golden Grammar Rules. The reveal.
Okay, it is finally time to lift the hood and look at the invisible rules that make all those sentences actually work. These 4 simple notes explain the underlying engine of the language. First up, hava has a long ah sound, but it's famously written without the vertical aleph letter for that first ah. It's a unique little spelling quirk. Second, and honestly this is massive, Arabic has no word for is or are in the present tense, no copula. That's why hava bait translates word for word as this house, but means this is a house. Third, notice that n sound at the end of nouns like baytun. That's called tanween, and it serves the exact same purpose as the English words a or an. So baytun literally means a house. And finally, as we saw earlier, just slapping the ah particle onto the front magically transforms a regular statement into a yes-no question.
Just look at these foundational words. It is genuinely amazing to see how much can be absorbed in mere minutes. You've got objects like kitab and qalam, people like walad and tabib, animals like kalb. But far more importantly, the logic of how to point to them, ask what or who they are, and confirm with yes or no, that's now entirely unlocked for you. It isn't just about memorizing a list. It's literally learning the operating system of the language. Because understanding these basic building blocks doesn't just teach you vocabulary, it unlocks the logic of an entirely new culture. When we see how elegantly a language handles concepts like objects versus intellects, or how hyper-efficiently it just skips words like is, we start to see the whole world through a slightly different lens. The fortress walls of Lesson 1 have totally been breached. So the real question is, are you ready to see what comes next?